If you got one of these pellet smokers, it's rather important to maintain them. Um, I just got this one off Craigslist. I got the other parts for it, but I just tried to use it, and this is the igniter. It sits inside a little pot that sits in that hole right there and plugs in. Uh, Another thing that I just had found out, this auger right here, there's an auger in there that turns. Okay, so the hopper box sits here on top, but I took all that off because the auger was not turning. It wouldn't turn. And I thought that uh, the problem was the auger, but because I turned it on and I put my hand here and I felt cold air. And I was like, that seems kind of weird. So I started taking stuff apart to find out what was going on, and I found out the auger was seized up because it had that was inside the pot. That was inside. It was full of ash, hadn't been cleaned, and then this is stuff that was in the auger. The auger was packed with powder in the box. This is out of the box. This is actually out of the box that the pellets go into, and this is what was inside of it. There was a few pellets, but mostly sawdust, and it looked like it may have gotten wet, as you can see there. See a little bit of rust there. So I began to clean it out, and it was quite difficult. But what I found out is if you remove this screw right here, and then you just kind of work with it. You got to work with it because, like, I would move this and this fan would spin. It was pretty tough. It was pretty stiff. But I ended up I removed this screw and I pulled the auger out and just got all that crap that was in there. Also, there's 4 bolts that hold this to the smoker. So I removed those 4 bolts. Also, if you don't remove the temperature probe that sits here, sits right there in that box, if you don't remove that, you're going to need a little flathead. Remove those 2 screws, unplug that, and then you can take this after you remove the 4 bolts that are inside. There's 2 right directly under that deflector right there, then there's 2 down lower on either side, 2 on each side. Remove those 4 bolts, the box comes off. Be careful because there is a heat gasket in between there, and you can pull it off. Also, there's a screw down here at the bottom that attaches to the box. You're going to have to remove that screw to disconnect that ground wire because it's grounded in order to get this through the hole to get it to where I have it right now. And also, there is a grommet that holds the power cord there. You squeeze it on the inside and you can kind of pry it out on the outside to get it to where you can get it to where I didn't pull it all the way off. Few little things, just a few little things. You just got to kind of be careful not to break any wires, because if you break this wire, the grill will not work. It'll show an error because I tried to run it with it disconnected and it wouldn't work because I didn't have that temperature probe hooked up. It needs that so it can tell what temperature it is inside the grill. So be careful not to break this wire here. Just unscrew those 2 and pull it out. It's so much easier than replacing it. But yeah, and then you can move this out the way. That's the control. And I've seen in the little kit, when I looked it up on eBay, it's like $10 for that heating element I found it for. And it just plugs in to that plug there, and it fishes through that hole there, then it runs through and plugs into the little pot. And this is the pot. It's got four, I believe they're 8mm screws that hold this in place. And the heating element just plugs right into that hole. Somebody said there was a screw, but I didn't see a screw on this one. And then that pot just sits right down there and screws down. And the temperature probe sticks through that hole, goes all the way in, all the way to the base there. So then when it's in, the pellets will fall onto there, heat up, and burn, essentially. So now I'm waiting for this new heating element to come, and I'll be putting this back together. And I used a wire brush on a grinder to clean the grill grates. They were pretty bad. Yeah, so I just cleaned them up with that grinder on the grill grate, and I'm going to be waiting for that to come, and I'll put it back together and fire it up. I'm excited. I've never had one of these before. This is my first pellet smoker, and I just went and got a turkey. I know it's what, 8th March? It's the beginning of March, and I'm smoking turkey, but it was a deal I couldn't refuse. It was like a 16-pound turkey for $8. I couldn't say no, so I did it. So now I'm gonna smoke it. But yeah, I'm waiting for that heating element, and I'll be putting it, and I'll be smoking the turkey. I'll make a video for you, I think. I plan on it. But yeah, I don't see the fuse anywhere, but apparently there is one. Oh, maybe it's, yep, there it is right there in that little green box with the zip tie on it. There's the fuse. But I tested the element with the multimeter, and it's not showing continuity, so I'm going to replace that heating element. But yeah, cleaning it is a big deal. And also another thing I found out, when you clean it, it's not that big of a deal. Okay, so there is this little oh, I dropped it. That's not my dad. It's a cell phone, so I threw it on the ground. But this sits in there. That screw goes through there. And so when you get ready, when you finish using it, you want to unscrew this, pull this out, pop this out, and all the pellets will fall out. And then once you get that empty, see that square to the left? Okay, so this covers that hole. And so you empty out all the pellets, scrape them all over to there, and catch them as they fall out through that hole there. Pop that out, and they'll fall out through there. And then what you want to do is run the pellet, run it, so that all the pellets that are in that auger there will clear out. You want to clear that out when you finish using it, because if you don't, and for whatever reason, if water gets in there, and those pellets, they're going to swell, and when the pellets swell, they're going to turn to crumbs, and you're going to have your auger all plugged up. So if you want to take care of your pellet smoker, clear that out, empty the pellets, clear this, burn off all the extra. You might even want to do it before you finish cooking, so that by the time you're done cooking, the hopper's empty, and the auger's clear. So then you don't have to worry about trying to clear it, because it will be cleared, and you won't have anything in here. That box, that little bucket, should be ash. Interesting. So I never used this thing before, but the ash would build up in here. How are you supposed to clear the ash out of there? Is there another part that goes with this to make it easier to dump the ash? Because this thing was all full of ash, all in here with this full of ash. I need to look and see if I can figure out what goes on with the ash. How are you supposed to keep the ash out of here so that you can keep your smoker smoking and clean that out without having to remove this every time you get ready to, every time you're done using it? Are you supposed to vacuum it out? This is questions I need to figure out. I'll try to find out everything that I need to by the time I'm ready to smoke this turkey when the part comes in. But thank you for watching. You guys have a good day, and we'll see you next time.